All right, I do believe that I am on and audible and starting another live stream. My name is Sam Irvin, and I'm here on Asheville 8 p.m. Note, the weekly Wednesday live stream where I have a different Asheville musician on to chat and jam. Well, sometimes it's multiple musicians. Like today, I've got Rob Gray and Paul Gaeta with me. Rob Gray, also known as Captain Hyperdrive and as half of Bombassic, the latter apparently. And Paul Gaeta is Otorongo, aka or formerly known as Panther God, perhaps. Really excited to talk to them. Know them through my time at Moog, our time at Moog together. Excellent electronic producers, electronic music producers. And producers of electronics when we worked at Moog, I guess. But yeah, I'm Sam Irvin. I'm here in Irvin Music Studio in Asheville, North Carolina. And this is the hub for my small company that offers private lessons, event entertainment, and sound production services, where that third department is sort of where this live stream lands. Doing this to gain more community. I haven't been able to hang out with these guys in a while. This is a great excuse to see some old friends. Sometimes I'm meeting new people on the live stream. Hopefully I'm creating a platform where musicians can meet each other and audiences who might not have seen them, get introduced to them as well. Also, it's just a place to have fun, creativity for creativity's sake. I heard my computer making noise over there, so I'm wondering if everything's okay. Okay, I'm getting a thumbs up. That's good. I have Doug Oser over here helping out, the regular co-producer engineer. Couldn't be on today, but helping out with switching some camera angles. How about an example of the camera angle switching? All right, sweet. Really upping the quality here of this live stream. We're trying to. A whole team. There's 4 of us today. I'm so excited, you guys. There's 3 reasons I do this: community and creativity. And utilizing the studio, flexing these muscles of all this gear and trying to make weird noises that have never been made, at least by me, before. And we're going to be doing that a little bit later in the show. After we chat for an hour, we will jam for an hour on a wide variety of Moog gear, maybe the MPC-1, maybe the drum set will be involved. Maybe we'll sing some chants, we'll find out. But what you wish for. Yeah. Well, right now I'm wishing for you guys to join me over here. I think I'm done rambling by myself. So again, Paul Gaeta and Rob Gray, or should I say Rob Gray and Paul Gaeta?
Either or.
And is this guest intro music happening? It's gonna.
Oh God.
I know it's all a work in progress. I need like a gold carpet. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
You are introed. Yeah. Welcome to the show.
Nice.
Oh, here.
Oh, yeah. It's like a chiptune track. Did you produce that?
I did. Yeah. Nice. What do you think?
I love it.
A little
it's got
spot.
That like 90s video game feel to me.
Yeah, good. That's what I was going for.
Okay, yeah.
Something upbeat. A lot of my stuff turns out to be very like dreary and dreadful. I don't know why. I was like looking through like I record some, when I'm jamming and fooling around, and all of them are like sort of sad. Like, this is not guest intro music. I landed on that one.
I love
Figured it out.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for coming on. Yeah.
It's a pleasure. Last time was super fun, so I'm excited for this time, especially with my best friend Paul and good friend Sam. Yeah, it's always great seeing you.
Yeah, you too. I'm super excited for our jam. You guys are both really talented and very knowledgeable about the gear that I have. And last time I completely decimated our jam, Rob. Paul, I think ours turned out pretty good. So viewers can go back and check out ours. These are early episodes. I think you guys were in the first couple. Next week is the anniversary.
Really? 1 year?
1 year, yeah.
Congratulations. How many episodes was that?
So this is 51.
Holy
right
moly.
now. Yeah, weekly.
You really stuck to that.
It's happening.
That's pretty impressive.
That is.
And you're booking everybody yourself too?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a It's a passion project.
That's a lot of passion, man.
Labor
Much
of love.
respect.
Hey, thanks. Well, it's it only works with guests and now helper in addition. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you, Doug.
Doug can
sorry
chime in over there too.
Sorry to interrupt. Sorry, Doug.
No, please
could we
come on
turn
in.
My headphones down a little.
Yeah. Here, why don't you actually? I think we're all a little hot in general. So why don't you take the red knob at the bottom right of the mixer and turn it down
Okay, yeah,
just
yeah.
a hair, maybe in between where you
That feels better.
you
though.
took it down
Yeah,
to.
that's good.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Sweet.
Could I get a little bit more? I'm just worried about the recording. I want it to be really fat.
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
But if it's still too much, let me know. How does this sound to you? All right.
Feels good.
Yeah, good. I know it was a little abrasive there.
I got the hat on, so I don't think I was hearing as hot as you
Right.
guys.
I was more like, this could work.
This might be the first podcast ep I was telling you guys about.
That's awesome.
Now that we've got these mics. So make sure we're talking right into the top of
Mhm.
this mic.
Oh, it's a top facing.
There we go.
It is. They are
Okay.
directional
Nice.
in that way.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah,
I think we're sounding good though.
I think so too. Yeah.
Let's just talk about how good we sound for an hour.
Oh, we totally could. You guys, I would love to just talk about everything. All the cables, just researching cables, what cables I need for what particular use. I will not start down that road. How about I ask you guys though, like, have you run into any tech needs recently, like any hurdles or things that were confusing you or that you had to sort of overcome?
If I'll go first. Yeah, I'm actually working with a friend that Paul referred me to, and I'm helping be the audio tech for the music video that's going to be recorded at the Masonic Temple. So just like figuring out, I've never done this before, figuring out what type of microphone she wants to use, either like the headset or handheld, and testing that. And then I had to get over this tech needs where she bought a handheld mic, and then we were trying to get it synced up to the receiver, and then we just came to a realization calling the Sweetwater rep where they're like, yeah, that receiver doesn't have the frequency range with the mic. So kind of figured, and I never knew about that. I'm like, I thought these would all work. So yeah, that was like an hour process of coming to that conclusion, then realizing, oh, we can't even use this microphone.
With that particular, so you bought a wireless mic, but then realized you needed the receiver.
A specific receiver, because she had a receiver for her headset that worked, but the receiver didn't do the same frequency range as the new microphone. But I didn't know that until talking, and we finally had to call the rep. I was like, doing all the troubleshooting, going online, watching videos.
That sounds like a pain.
It was a pain.
Yeah, it's really time consuming to do. So the tip is to double check if you've got any wireless gear, to double check that what you're buying, that frequency range is accepted by the other piece.
I had no idea, that goes with it. So yeah, it took us over an hour and a half to figure out that we can't do anything with the piece of gear.
That's a bummer.
Oh, and I had a really good one. This is a success one. I'm about to do this amazing event called Enter the Garden. It's basically strip club mixed with Broadway theater mixed with music video choreography. So It's mostly women. I think there is one male in there, and it's all pole dancing or chair dancing or what's called a lollipop. It's like a hoop that goes on top of the pole dance. So you're like, it spins and you're inside the hoop and you can do moves on that. And so I produced a piece for the finale for the troupe, and then they asked me to be the lighting coordinator, and I've never done lighting before. So the producer was working with the program and trying to be able to write the lighting and then try to play tracks that have this program lighting, and then one where we would freestyle on a controller. Couldn't figure it out. He was like really frustrated. He calls me the next day and goes, figured it out. So apparently there's now this DJ controller, the DJ deck, that goes with the lighting program. So you can DJ with the lights all in this DJ deck, super simple, and it has speakers on board, touch screen on front. And I was like, so basically I was just like, now I could maybe program my own lights and my own music. and it's all synced up. And he just bought this piece of gear where he was like, "This is gonna be a nightmare to figure out." So that was a great tech win.
Wow.
Yeah, that's huge. Is it all controlled through MIDI? Because I know a lot of lighting projects are these huge MIDI circuits.
It's
with a lot of
interesting.
moving parts.
Yeah, it is MIDI DMX, but you write the lighting design like it's automation that you would write, like just like it looked like an Ableton or a Logic session where you're writing automation, whether it be volume, but you could do this specifically for the lights you own, do strobing, fading, changing colors. You write that, and then basically you can then bounce that down to a file, and then the wave file has that lighting on it. And then when you use this DJ deck, all that information's already on there. So when you press play, it's just reading that. And then if you have another track on deck 2 that has lighting automation, you just do the crossfader, and it will go to that music and that lighting.
That's
It was
crazy.
it was really cool.
That's awesome, man.
Wow.
So I was like,
Wow.
but yeah, real quick, that is happening at Highwire Brewery, their event space, February 18th and 19th. I think it's almost sold out. It is an amazing event, unlike anything I've seen. It's similar to like a Cirque du Soleil with some sultry and sexiness.
Yeah.
And
Are the dancers singing? You mentioned Broadway.
I
Is
would
there,
just say
like-
because it's theater oriented where they have full costumes, there's themes to the music, the lighting cues, there's the to Enter the Garden, so there's like this theme where the finale piece that I produced, there is like tombstones, there's a throne with like a goddess getting fanned. They have a whole table where they're acting like gluttonous, where there's bread and they're eating and drinking, and they're like it's called Resurrection.
Okay.
And it's like a 7-minute piece that I produced with the head producer of this troupe. And yeah, it's like this mixture of like sexy pole dancing, but then they have this whole theme with costuming and this storyline. So yeah, it's really wild.
It's very involved. Yeah.
It is.
It's a Wagnerian, right?
I'm not familiar with what does that mean?
Wagner is this guy who wrote like in the Romantic period in the late 1800s, I want to say, and he wrote like a 3-day opera called The Ring Cycle that
Oh, wow.
is like, and he created all the, I mean, it might be maybe he had a team and took all the credit, but he created all the costumes and did everything himself.
Oh wow.
Like,
Did he have people twerking?
I think
Yeah.
so. That's what I mainly was
Okay.
pointing. Yeah. a
Okay, I
lot of
think now
twerking
that you
in
mention, I
Wagner.
think that's where they got their influence for this whole show.
Yes.
But yeah, it's really cool. They're going to be continuing doing it quarterly, and yeah, I just want to give them a shout out because it's a really amazing group of people and production and something very special. Like Asheville has all these amazing things that I don't think you can find in any place in the world, and this is one of those events.
I'm tantalized. Yeah, I want to check it out.
I think you want to see it. Yeah,
Who wouldn't?
it's real. Oh, here's a kicker. The host of the upcoming one is Stormy Daniels. If you're not
Kids,
familiar,
you're not.
Stormy Daniels is the woman that had Trump cheated on his wife with, and then
You keep explaining. I'm gonna check one thing. I'll be
Mhm.
right back.
then she went against their non-disclosure agreement to basically try to out him before the election. It didn't work. She got in a lot of trouble.
Wait, she got in trouble?
Yeah, and she was a former porn star.
I knew that, but why did she get in trouble?
Because she had these non-disclosure agreements where she wasn't legally allowed to talk about it, but she got paid off by Trump's lawyer, and she still did it to try to disrupt the election, to be like, this guy's
Oh.
and yeah,
Oh,
going.
Check
so
on
she
that a
took
little
the
bit.
money to shut up,
They're
and then
red.
she talked anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I think she's doing better now. I'll see when
Yeah.
I meet her, but like initially, like there was a lot of legal trouble, and just
Yeah.
obviously then she was getting trashed by the public for what she did and all that.
right.
So she put her neck on the line, but
Wow.
I think she's doing well, and she's gonna be coming hosting the event. So I'm gonna meet Stormy Daniels in a
God.
few weeks.
That's awesome.
So her career is doing okay.
I think so. Yeah, I think she is. I think she's producing her own adult films and crushing
She gets
it.
to visit beautiful Asheville.
Yeah, and just sit there and be like, check out these beautiful women go on dancing on stage and this amazing choreography. So yeah, it should be fun.
Nice. So you produce the music. Is this better, by the way?
It's way better.
Okay, good.
Okay.
You produced this like 9-minute track. Is that what
It
you're
was
saying?
7 minutes, and it's Alanis Morissette's "Uninvited." So the producer Carissa of 13 Hour, which is the dance company, that's like the main dance company involved, she came to me with like, want to do it original, but can you remix the song? And then it was the first time I ever did this, where I had her sit in the whole time I was making the track, except for there were a few periods where I was by myself working on it, but I've never collaborated with somebody who had no connection to like making music or production. And so I was just transferring her ideas, like, and putting my own spin on it, but like she wanted super dark, super slow, which isn't, if you heard my music, that's not my MO.
Captain Hyperdrive.
Yeah, I mean, I like
slow.
sexy, I like dancey. This is sexy, but it's dark and it's haunting. Like I put haunting sounds in it, like wolves howling. She's like, yeah, but put those wolves in. So I didn't know what to expect, but it was
a cool track.
It was really cool to see. She was designing the choreography with the music rather than around the music. So she can put any move she wanted to and tell me like, hey, take this out here or put this here or extend this part. But eventually they want me to produce their whole lineup and have like an album to sell as well.
Nice. That's cool. I'd love to check that out or hear it. I was telling Paul before you got here that I sort of dug back deeper into your guys' discography this time because I had listened to your latest like Bombassic album, those remixes of Bollywood sort of tracks, and that was cool. But listening back to was it Flaming Roses or
Burning Roses? Yeah, that's my solo album,
yeah,
debut solo album.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah,
I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you.
It was a mood this morning. It was floating.
I really appreciate that. Yeah, I put a lot of work into it, and I feel like I've gotten a lot better as a producer. But I listened back, and I'm really proud of that work. And I guess because it was like straight from the heart, like really had a lot of meaning to it at that time. So yeah, thank you.
I'd love to talk because and your earlier Panther God stuff that I listened to was like 5 years ago, but I want to talk about like how time consuming it is to write music that's from the heart like that, you know, and especially that stuff is pretty complex and really involved. And the stuff that you're doing now is as well, but now that life, you know, over 5 years, lifestyle changes take place, and
big time.
And I'd love to hear about, to contrast, you know, where you guys are now versus 5 years ago. But I also want to hear if you have any tech things that you ran into recently.
So part of what I do at work is constantly explore technology, you know, so there's always...
That's right. You still work at Moog?
Yeah, so I work in the store a good bit, and we sell a wide array of instruments outside of the Moog stuff. So, you know, something new comes in, I have to be able to at least give a demo with it. And so that kind of keeps me constantly in that place of having to learn stuff. And then, of course, when I find that I'm interested in like a new instrument or a new like mixer or whatever it is, then I think about how I could potentially use it in my own work. And I just seem to kind of need a lot of novelty when it comes to the tools that I use. Like, I think it's actually problematic to, and it's not just needing stuff. It's like, oh, it'd be so cool if I could try out this Greek harp. So like I get a Greek harp. I did this recently. Like, basically what happens is I intuitively sense like I really, really need something in my life. And so recently was this Greek harp, and I did all this research, and I was like, oh, I want to get a really authentic one. And so I got one that is literally made in Greece, and it's fashioned after like a, you know, very early, I don't know, very antiquated design.
Are the strings made out of animal guts?
Yeah.
And stuff like that?
Really?
Yeah,
That's cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cat gut.
So anyway, I get the instrument, and I like made one song with it, or a couple songs right away, and like one of those is going to be on my next album. And then it's not like I move on, but you know, it becomes a part of my collection of instruments. So at first I spend a lot of time with it, and then I have to like work it into my routine because I don't want to stop playing whatever else too. And that becomes part of the challenge. And so you can kind of water down your skill set if you take on too much. And it's like this balance of needing some sort of novelty, but also being able to like have things like the harmonium right now for me is the thing that like if I'm depressed or I'm not feeling like it, I'm still playing harmonium. That's just like a given. Whereas maybe like flutes right now are not that way for me. So it's always kind of changing.
Yeah, I can relate to that 100%. I mean, my classical guitar, I have to do. And when I broke a nail recently, it was tragic.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And so I couldn't practice for a little bit and get very moody. You know, I really, the emotional impact is pretty tough. I don't know if,
yeah.
Do you experience that with sort of your primary or even if it's not a particular instrument, but like composing music for some period of time a day or?
Yeah, it used to be like I had to work on music like all the time, or I would just be angry or something. And it wasn't so much that I needed to, but I thought I needed to. And there is a part of me that needs to, but I think now it's different. I'm not as materialistic about, because I've been wearing a producer hat for almost 20 years. And I am the person that, like, if I go over to a friend's house to collaborate, like, I'm often thinking, like, what am I getting out of this? Like, how am I going to make this into a thing or learn a thing that can be useful in, like, a finished thing? And some people are more okay or, like, more in the mindset of doing music for music's sake. And I'm just now learning how to do that. And I think if you just sit in a room with somebody and you're like, let's just make sounds or like play two drums together without an agenda to make a record out of it or even record it, that's like kind of the purest form of music making, and it's very anti-capitalist. It's like you're not making products here. Whereas a music producer can get, I think, a little too caught up in making products all the time at the expense of just like the joy of relating to somebody with sound or, you know, improvising. And you know how it is too, as soon as you hit record, like everything's different to begin with. So I think it's really healthy that you actually have, like Rob and I, when we hang out nowadays, like we don't really like have the agenda so much. We've kind of like,
not at all.
Yeah, we've kind of turned that off. And maybe there's still part of me that at times is like, shit, we should be recording this. But like, you know, I think you need a healthy balance of that in the world.
And so you found that that's become a need, like your routine needs to have some of that.
Yeah. So I wake up and I play harmonium between like 10 and probably 20 minutes every single day, like clockwork. If I miss it, I feel off. And then when I get home, I make sure to put in at least like another half hour. And that could go on. That could be like, I could play harmonium like 3 hours in a day. But at least if I get like a half hour every single day, then I know I'm like sticking with my practice. And that's been really important.
Yeah, let's dig into this. I love this topic because I think about this every day. And I'm probably coming the other direction where I want to get more into producing. I mean, we're producing a product right now, right? Thanks for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe. Yeah.
Thank you.
Smash that subscribe button.
Smash it.
But I also play to refine my skill, and there is this like compulsory need to practice guitar. And part of my confidence or my identity revolves around being like pretty good at this one instrument, you know, and then trying to add on
your career, kind of
my career also, and just upon
your
that.
living,
your rent.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, good point.
It's a legitimate.
Yeah, it's a legit.
Maybe
it's gotta keep the roof over my head. So that's a pressing thing, and then things like the MPC one, you know, I had gotten that into the routine of like 30 minutes. I keep this checklist and I journal every day, and like
I saw it on while I was eating dinner.
You're
No,
checking out my checklist.
I was going to tell you after, but I'm like, I need to do this.
Oh, it's awesome.
It's really
I
helpful.
love the checklist.
I really was impressed by it. I'm actually, I don't think I've said this to you before, but I'm just impressed by how you
I'm listening.
manage your routines and your discipline. Ever since I worked with you at Moog, I like understood that about you, and I highly respect that, and I can see how it's paying off. I mean, the last time I was here, I mean, this operation just got so much more tighter. You got more cameras, more lights, more gear, and yeah, I just appreciate that about you for sure.
Thanks so much.
I echo that.
I really appreciate that, you guys.
Yeah.
Oh man, I mean, come a long way since Moog. I mean, it's nice of you to mention sensing that back then, but boy, if I think about my life 5 years ago versus, or even 1 year ago versus the sort of routine that I've built up now, I can see a lot of progress in myself. I'm feeling like I've really been working hard to get, those blocks from when I wake up to when I go to sleep pretty ironed out, pretty consistent throughout the day. But it's important to have some variable time too, on the weekends.
Of course.
Yeah.
Got to live life.
Yeah. What about you, Rob? Like, do you have a routine like that you,
I have it in my head, but there's like certain things that I saw in there that I'm like getting to bed early. Like that's always been an issue of mine. And I feel at this point in my life now, it's like really taking its toll. Where I used to just be able to like, yeah, I'm on 4 hours of sleep. And this is only like in the past like year and a half. I turned 35 in August, and yeah, like, I don't know, even though I know I need it, like every time I'll like look, I'm like, oh, it's 11:30, 12. And then, or it's like 1, and I'm just like, what am I doing?
I know. I fantasize about staying up late and like working on my album or whatever, but then I never feel like I am I don't have the clarity, after a long days of work or whatever. So I've realized that I have to front load my day and put everything sort of early. And then I realize if I stay up late or I go out and see some music, on the weeknight, maybe I'll still do the things the next day, but then I'm like 10% less focused or whatever.
Totally.
And that 10% just, that's where the gold is, you just have to have that, that sort of motivation. But what about musically? Do you try every day to get something going? I mean, if you've got these collaborations, there are people waiting on you to do some things,
totally.
I suppose.
Well, I did take somewhat of a break from focusing on music last year, so I wanted to get a certification in personal fitness, so I was studying for that. And
did you get it?
I did.
Hey, congrats.
Yeah, thank you. And that was all in lieu so I could quit this soul-sucking day job that I've had for the past few years. And
yeah, get out of there.
I'm quitting. I'm leaving next Friday. I'm
Awesome,
done.
Man.
I am done.
Yeah.
It's been a long time in the making.
Boss is listening. He's done.
He would never be listening to this, and I don't care if he is. So I hadn't studied like that in a long time. It was like 800-page textbook that was mostly science and anatomy based.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like I haven't been reading, but I haven't been reading that type of literature that's just like very, just kind of dry. So I knew I couldn't like be focusing on these other things. So I kind of put that to the wayside before we had a big album release show with Bombassic in last May. But after that, focused.
That's one of the last things at ISIS, right?
Yeah. It might have been one of the last electronic events there too, which that was an epic night, I have to say. We could talk about that later, but yeah, I got the certification, and now I'm leaving this job. I'm gonna just take a few months off work to travel, rejuvenate, and work on music. Like I want to wake up and like, possibly exercise, but also I just really kind of wake up, eat a breakfast, and then like get in the studio when I'm fresh, as you were mentioning, because I come to the studio around this time after you get home from work, go to the gym, do your errands, make dinner, clean up. Then it's 8 or 9 o'clock, and you're not at your best. And I'm like, I have like nothing in the tank, but this is my only time to do it.
Yeah, that's tough. And and to flip that coin, or to try to start getting up at like 5 in the morning, like
Yeah,
There's
that's
just only two. You can't burn the candle at both
Yeah,
ends. Yeah.
trust me, I tried for a
Yeah.
long time. Yeah, I was a. Are you done?
yeah,
I want to
yeah. Oh yeah,
interrupt
yeah.
you. Yeah, so I was working as a school teacher, and I'd get home 3:30. I'd take a nap. I'd eat, and I'd wake up maybe like 7 o'clock, and I would work till about 1 a.m. I did this for like 4 years while I was an elementary school teacher in a very, very difficult situation. And that was pretty devastating to my health. So I've actually had like multiple, as a result of overworking, I've had multiple meltdowns physically where, like at one point I think I was 30. I started to develop, I had tennis elbow, shoulder issues, and like carpal tunnel all in my right arm at the same time. So all of a
Jeez.
sudden, and this is actually while I was working on the Golden Changes record. That album took me 4 years, and some of the health stuff was probably a part of why it took so long. So anyway, I went from every day on the grind to on my back, could barely function, just basic stuff, and had all these issues from overworking. So I've really had to learn the hard way that the culture of overworking and like hyper productivity and life hacks and all that stuff, like a lot of it you can do without, because you have to listen to your body. Your body is, if it has gas in the tank, it's going to go, it's going to work, it's going to be able to help you express what your spirit is channeling, if you believe that, or what it has to say. And if it doesn't have any gas in the tank, you're going to run around in circles a lot. You're going to make stuff you don't like a lot. And you're going to make it in little spurts, because then, okay, finally you'll pass out or whatever. And it's just, it doesn't work at a certain point. It might work when you're in your 20s. Like, for example, my favorite way of working in my 20s was I would work an 8-hour shift on a song. And some of the best music I ever wrote, I was literally like, all right, I'm going to start now, and then in 8 hours, this thing is going to be done. And I don't care what it takes.
That's tough.
It was really hard. But what would happen around the 8-hour mark is I would literally pass out and fall asleep in my chair, and then fall kind of over.
I've done that
wake
before.
Up. Yeah,
I've done that before. Yeah. It's a weird feeling too when you wake up. You're like, what the fuck is happening?
It's. but
Can we curse on here?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So, but here's the issue.
I'm not going to censor anybody.
Okay.
Yeah. This is
I
an
see.
artistic project right
All
here.
right,
We're making art
We're making
right
art.
now.
I won't be explicit, but throw something there, here and there.
So yeah, here's the issue. And I'm sure you all can relate. So you pull this 8-hour shift, you put in the work, and you passed out in a way which is probably not good. Like, you should probably like actually go to your bed and have a few minutes of quiet time, brush your teeth and all that stuff, wash your face. No, this is just like pass out, go to bed, wake up the next day. And the next day, it takes like 5 hours to recover from the night before. And if you're at work, then like work is extra challenging. So then by the time it's then 7 p.m. the next night,
You're done.
you don't have another 8-hour shift in you. There's just no way, because you've got life to contend with too. So anyway, I've learned that the hard way. I'm 42. I just turned 42, and what I do now is I check in with my body first, and I'm like, where are you at? What do you want to do? Because like personally, I'm not trying to make a living off of my music right now. It'd be nice if it happened, but I'm making a living in another way, which requires 40 hours a week. And so I have to be realistic about how much I can dedicate to music production. And it hurts. A part of me is like really sad about that. Like, I wish it were way more. I wish I had way more energy and time for it. But what I've learned, like, kind of the overarching principle is slow and steady wins the race. Like, if I give myself a couple days, even if I need it, to recover fully, get rest, go to bed early, then it's like music's just flowing. And that flow state is where the good music happens to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a really hard lesson to learn, because this other consumerist, capitalist thing going on in your brain, and especially in this competitive world where we're comparing ourselves to the top producers, everybody with the internet, so
With the numbers
interrelated.
to compare with.
Yeah.
And everybody who might not know what it's like to really grind on that in that particular field just knows the famous producers.
Oh, totally.
Then they're comparing you to them too, like,
And the electronic world is pretty party heavy too,
oh yeah.
or it seems that way.
Well, any live music, it's really tough. I've talked to plenty of guests about it's tough to get venues that aren't centered around alcohol, because then how do the venues make
any?
Yeah, because the venues just make their money selling the alcohol.
Exactly.
That's the only way to stay open. So there's this, fundamental relationship between drinking and live music, and that adds up.
That's a conundrum.
Well, you throw that into the overworking with, like, substance abuse, and then you're really, like, you can see why people get famous and then, like, they can't.
Burn out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had, like, relating to, like, I understand, like, not chasing the competitiveness and capitalism of, like, creating music to, like, just make it, but it's not even jealousy. It's like I get motivated when, like, I saw a clip. There's a new series coming out on Hulu called Rap Caviar Presents, and I guess this episode is about, like, Tyler the Creator with Pharrell in, like, 2015, and they just a clip where, like, Pharrell's talking about music, and they're on tour, and then they go to the studio where they're on tour in Europe, and I'm just like, that's what I, like, would love to do, where that's my lifestyle, where it's not like the money and fame, but, like, you're playing music and then you go get to hang out with, like, one of the best producers in the world, and he's grooming you, and you're just in that flow. They're always in that flow state. Like, they're able to go in that flow state a lot. I just, like, love that. And hearing, like, about Kendrick Lamar, the way he had, like, a team of artists where I think this was a couple albums ago, but he said he would, like, he basically wake up around, like, 11 or 12 because he was in the studio all night, but then, like, work out, hang out, get to the studio around 6 or 7, and then his entourage of people like Thundercat and all these super amazing artists and producers, and they just banging out. And he said he'd do that for weeks. And I'm like, oh man, I would love to do that.
Yeah.
That does sound amazing. Yeah.
It's not even about being famous and stuff. I like just where you can just be like, my week is going to be, like, in this flow state, and not where you're crunching the time, where, like, they can be in the studio for a couple hours and they're like, let's go for a walk. Let's go get a bite to eat. Let's go, like, chill and live life. It's not like we need to do this all now because we got to go to work tomorrow. They may have something, go to work, but they're going to go perform or something, like that. I know there's a lot more to it, but yeah, just being able to have the space to, like, have weeks or months on end. And at a certain point, depending on how much money these artists want to make, they can really dictate how much time they want to take off. And I think Kendrick did that on his last album, where he took off, like, 2 years, no social media. And his first message back was like, yeah, I didn't have a phone for the past, like, 8 months, and I've been, like, riding my bike a lot. And that's what he said.
Sounds great.
Oh, and here's my new record, which you're going to buy a lot of.
And win the Grammy of the year.
I've been a little bit busy with that.
But yeah, he, like, has the space
Great
to, like,
album.
live the life and then be in that, like, not even hustle mode, but in the creative flow mode.
Yeah, that's the sort of yin yang of it, right? The push pull of, like, I mean, that's inspiring, and you want to do everything you can to position yourself to have those values in your lifestyle that you want, right? And I think your body and listening to your body becomes more important. I think we've got an interesting spread. You guys named your ages, so I guess I will too. I'm 99. No, I am
looking
really good, man. What's the
Thanks,
secret?
It's collagen peptides. That's
I've heard
the
about
secret.
these. I've heard about these.
Elastic skin.
I think Madonna's onto that too.
Yeah.
A little bit, just a little bit.
It's
okay.
I'll look at her. Who? Madonna?
Yeah,
Ma-
be
ma-
warned. Doug knows what I'm talking about.
And doesn't she have like a 20-something-year-old boyfriend? And I think Cher, who's like 70, has like a 20-year-old, 25-year-old boyfriend. Good for them. That's
Yeah, that's what they want.
yeah,
Those
why
are the values that they're bringing into their lifestyle. I'm 31, and so I'm certainly hitting that place of listening to my body, and like, and you are. I think, it's easier to just be happy with like your lot in life too. Those 40 hours that you're putting in with the day job, you know. I love like my students or talking to wedding clients and stuff when I'm taking care of myself, and then taking care of myself has to include the creative piece of actually making stuff and putting it out there and feeling good about myself as a creative person, sort of. So even if it's not primary in terms of like hours spent, it can still feel like what it's all propped up on, you know, like
totally.
Or for, and but you know, I get sort of more annoyed with my students not practicing, or bummed out about not getting booked, you know, the amount of gigs that I'm getting rejected for the weddings or something, if I'm not taking care of myself in those ways, my body and my mind, spiritually, with the creativity.
So it seems that did you want to say something? Okay. Yeah, I mean, I was going to say that you're somewhat of an inspiration for what I'm doing. Like, I've had this consistent, safe 9-to-5 job that has not challenged me, has not challenged my brain, but it's good pay, especially in Asheville. It's like hard to come by a good paying job with benefits, but it's soul sucking and like dead. Like, but yeah, I know that I'm not jumping into like what my dream world of music is, but I'm going to get into fitness, and it's something I love. I love helping people. I love fitness. I'm also DJing weddings, which is really fun. And as you know, that's a very lucrative like avenue to go into, and you're bringing a lot of joy to those people. So I'm like adjacent to these things of like the dream life, but I want to create that, and like much respect for seeing you do that, because yeah, like I know you weren't happy at your position in Moog, and I know at a point where I was at a certain place, I wasn't either. It wasn't fulfilling any of those needs.
Yeah, Moog is a fantastic company, I should say.
Totally.
First and foremost, and a lot of people do
life.
enjoy their positions at Moog, and it changed my life too. I know you guys. This is a big bonus right now. A lot of gear, a lot of know-how, a great community there.
Amazing.
But yeah, I left maybe
a year or two. Itself.
Yeah, a year or two late, I think, because I wasn't listening to my body. You know, I was sort of miserable and was a little scared to take that leap into the unknown. Things in Asheville are very challenging, you know, financially, and maybe everywhere. You know, maybe pretty much everybody feels that way. I don't know. Maybe people in Maine right now are like, I don't know, I'm loving it. My house is like, my mortgage is $500.
It's negative 20 degrees out.
Right. It's worth it. Get a hot tub, you know, out there.
The kitchen.
I forgot what I was saying.
You were saying about your apprehension to leave Moog when, like, you knew you should have left, and I feel the same thing with I should have left my job. I was about to leave it right about COVID, and then because of my fear, like, I should have left even before that, but I was like, oh, I have a job, so I shouldn't like leave in the middle of this thing. And then, but COVID, like a year later, I could have left. It was all this fear of like the what if.
And I think you are handling it in the like responsible, prepared, intelligent way, where you had to cram and probably work all these extra hours to study, but lining everything up to where you could have done it safely.
3 years before though. So I'm using this as a lesson to not wait when I wasn't listening to my, Paul probably heard me. Like, I've told everybody how much I didn't like working there.
I think you told me that last time you were here.
Yeah. I mean, so, but I was like not listening to what I really wanted and let the fear take over me. And yeah, so now I know next time to just make the move. Execute.
Yeah. I guess you don't hear about, like, I guess, like in movies and stuff or TV, you might see somebody make the move and fail. Because I think sometimes in comedies, that's like a funny sort of moment or something. But I don't know many people in like real life, any acquaintances of mine that like took that step to do the thing that they really wanted to do and then regretted it or like had their lives ruined, you know?
I think the best story that I know personally is it's a former Moog employee, Ben Hovey, where he knew his value and knew what he was doing wasn't it. And I believe the president of the company was like, well, if it's not here, then if you think that's your value, then go do it. And now he's touring with Pitbull.
Yeah. Friend of the show, Ben Hovey came on and
nice.
Gave a tour of his rig. It is insane.
Of course.
Yeah. It was a 3-hour episode because we took another hour at the end to just go through his controllers, his chains in Ableton that are custom because he's certified in Ableton.
Right.
And
maybe the only one in the Southeast still. I know at one point he was.
Yeah, he's a very talented dude. He put those hours in. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was an inspiration where he's just like, all right, well, I'm going to go do it. It wasn't like he got picked up by Pitbull right away, but he eventually made it there. And then it was like, I saw like a video where he's like, the keyboardist wasn't in today, so I sat in at the stadium show for his concert.
He's been DJing for Pitbull.
That's insane.
Yeah.
They played a show for royalty. I forget Branson.
Richard Branson.
Yeah.
He was the Virgin Mobile exec, that company, Virgin
gotcha.
Mobile.
Mm-hmm.
Some uber wealthy dude. They did a private show for him recently.
Wow.
He's DJing.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's a cool dude too. Have you guys if you talk to Ben Hovey, he engages you and he is like an information machine.
Oh, yeah.
Like one of those people that's just, it's like so intense that he's just like, he's like overflowing with this like energy.
I love it. I know Paul's good friends with him, collaborated with him multiple times.
Yeah.
He's actually on the Otorongo album, the Spells album.
Oh, okay.
He plays trumpet on it. We did a duet that day. So I have a funny story about that. What's that?
Ah, okay. We're coming up on time. I appreciate that. Oh, he changed the lights.
We need more time.
Yeah, we can do a 3-hour F. Yeah.
I don't know about that, but thanks for the green.
Yeah, appreciate that, Doug.
Looks good. So I have a funny story. So the first time I think that he came over and we collaborated, it's probably the only time this ever happened in my life. So we made like 6 or 7 tracks, like sketches for songs. One of which was basically like the sketch that was, maybe an hour away from completion that actually made the record with the trumpet on it. So we made all this music, and he dropped so many gems in terms of Ableton tricks and techniques and how to set my speakers up better. At the end of this, I felt like I owed him money.
Yeah.
Which it was an interesting thing because, I'm usually on the other end of that where I'm like, I teach Ableton a good bit or, other music production things, that kind of thing, giving workshops. So here, I just felt like a student, and he's just very generous with all of that and very passionate about it. But also, I got the sense that he could, outwork me and, had the, it was, no problem for him to work for, 3-4 hours straight. Whereas I find a lot of times, you collaborate with people, there's a lot of distractions going on. There's a lot of, we got to do this before we do this. And then, we got to do this, or I got to go make a phone call or whatever. Whereas just no, it was 3 to 4 hours of just we made stuff. So that was pretty cool. And he's a cool guy.
Yeah, definitely. And another inspiration, I think, how do you position yourself in life to develop those habits, that disposition towards discipline, towards that hardworking energy, And I think that you don't think so.
No, I mean, you can cultivate them, but not in Ben Hovey's case.
not to that level, perhaps. No. I think you said something striking near the beginning of the conversation where you used to feel like you had to work a lot,
Mm-hmm.
And that's another that contradiction, the push pull of it, because I have the inclination that I would be or I see evidence that I'm more disciplined and can enter that flow state, when I'm taking care of myself. But then taking care of myself means not working that hard, Or do you just get used to working those? But I guess you can run your body into the ground if you just try to habituate to working huge stints, It's sort of a mystery. Where is that sweet spot, that balance, I guess?
I feel like a big answer to that is if we just had more money so you didn't have to work a 40-hour-week job.
I guess that is.
And you can pull that 8-hour day because you have off tomorrow and you have more than 2 days off, because I feel like, I don't know about y'all, but my weekends, even though I get to rest a little bit, I'm like doing meal prep and I'm doing like a lot, like all these errands. And I'm like, oh, the weekend's over, and now I'm back to another 40 hours. I'm like, what the fuck?
You're living for the weekend.
Yeah, but I'm not even living on the weekend.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I just want to live. I was like, always been like, I wish there was this like third day after Sunday where just nobody has to do shit. But we figure out something that we have to do shit during that day anyway.
And then we start working weddings, and the weekends are over for,
Exactly.
Every other weekend's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Or you have Saturday, but that night work is coming, and that's
exactly
just looming.
The feeling of it, you don't have off, even though you're like, I'm gonna do what I want today. You're like, I still got to do this shit.
Yeah, better. I'll just do the whole to-do list before I go do the gig today, and then I'll rest tomorrow.
So yeah, I mean, money would help with that.
So feel free to give us money. Anybody who's watching,
Digital tip jar.
Not yet. I have to get a certain amount of subscribers. So if you're watching this on anything besides YouTube, go and check out Irvin Music Studio's YouTube channel.
Do it.
And please subscribe. It does help eventually, years from now perhaps. But do you guys have anything that you wanted to plug? This show at Highwire coming up on...
Oh yeah, just go to Enter the Garden AVL, and tickets still should be available. I think Saturday is basically sold out. They have VIP tables. You could get like a bottle of champagne that's like right around the stage.
All right.
So that's like kind of your strip club vibe right there. And then Sunday is still open. This is on February 18th and 19th. enterthegardenavl.com.
Cool. And are you releasing anything? Are you is there something to look out for, a Bandcamp?
Not quite yet. But if you just follow me on CPT Hyperdrive on Instagram and Facebook and Spotify, anywhere you stream music. So in the interim, while I was getting this certification, I've been doing like rebranding, getting a new logo made, new photo shoots. Going to eventually get a website made, electronic press kit, all the kind of assets. Mm-hmm. And in the meantime, I have 3 EPs done. That's just like older music. And then just like a lot of projects that I like want to get those out, but within the next few months, that's going to be dropping. So just follow me there. Captain Hyperdrive, CPT Hyperdrive.
Nice. And once again, I feel like the conversation's just begun because, man, I want to dig into branding. It's such a, there's so much to go through there. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to do some of that myself.
Be happy to talk about it off mic, and always happy to come back.
Awesome.
So I've got a website. It's the word Otorongo is a little challenging. So it's OTORONGO music.com. And spent a good amount of time the last few years getting that ready. And I've been doing quite a bit of like one-on-one sound journeys, sound ceremonies for people. And you could actually check that out on the website and or potentially book a session. So that's been like a big part of what I've been working on. I've got a new record that I think is getting pretty close. It feels like it is because I keep making things worse, and that's usually when it's getting pretty close. So that'll probably come out this year. I'm thinking either cassette and vinyl. I don't know. The price of vinyl has gone up a lot. So
you ever do any live Otorongo stuff?
Yeah, I have. So for the CD release party for the Spells album, the last album, I did one. And I've got, actually, Rob and I are playing this little festival in Brevard.
Yeah.
Hey, that's where I'm from.
Nice.
B-Town.
Do you know where Kukendall is? Campground?
Yeah, I've been there many
Okay.
times.
Yeah, we've
It's
thrown
cute.
our Bear Call Festival, and Paul will be playing, and I'll be playing a festival there. Yeah, actually, I
Awesome.
didn't talk to you about that. I did tell the booker that we should collab. Like, I know I got booked for like a lo-fi, chilled, down-tempo DJ
Yeah.
set, and then I know they
Yeah.
hipped you up for an ambient, but I was like, Paul and I could do something as well at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the suggestion was 9 a.m. or something to like 12 p.m. I think on Sunday in May.
Okay.
It's May 21st.
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
something like
Mother's
that.
Day
So,
weekend.
so yeah.
Real quick, just to kind of like, Paul and I have a deep history with each other, but you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel the beginnings of Paul entering into the sound journey and sound healing is when we worked together at Moog. We had this opportunity a few years in a row to perform for male Craggy prison inmates.
Oh, right.
Mm-hmm.
And around that time, I think that's when you just started picking up the flute. And I remember when we started the session, Lou Rawls was with us, so he brought in a crazy amount of sound.
Yeah, I'm seeing him this Saturday.
Oh,
He's
great.
coming to
Cool.
review my studio.
Oh, great.
Another font of information.
Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
God. Whole nother level. So it was us three. Paul had a friend that sang songs, acoustic guitar. But when we went on, Paul started the whole thing with a meditation. And so there's like 80 to 100 men, some of them that convicted for murder. And they all listened and they all got into the mode. And I believe you guided a meditation, and then
Yeah, it
did you
was a
start playing
short one.
flute?
Played some flute.
And we
And
did
then
a
we did a
drone set. Like I was like, he was playing flute. I think you had some other sounds at your disposal, and I was doing a sub 37, like doing like droning modulation with a bass sound.
Mm.
That's right.
And I don't know if you did that before, but I feel like that was like kind of a spawn where you really started diving into learning the flute, going that route with his music. And it was about a year ago, because last Super Bowl, Paul gave me a one-on-one sound healing, and it was a lifetime experience. It was amazing. So I highly recommend Paul. It was deep.
I do as
powerful.
well. Yeah, we did. I helped with some video recently, which I do think about like once a month. Like I should just finish some more of those samples and get them over to him. And then I remember, oh God, I have so much work. I have so much stuff to do. Excited to get those finished because they're pleasant to listen to, even editing. But like shooting those videos, just listening to you play, I was in the zone.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thanks.
Chilled out.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
Appreciate that.
Paul's providing an amazing experience and healing for those that need it. And I know he's been taking his studies for all these different instruments incredibly deeply to a whole nother level. Yeah, I've watched his expertise in like from beginning on flute to like owning 7 different flutes and all different types of flutes and picking up all these different instruments and singing different languages. So it's really amazing journey to see you on. And yeah, I mean that like kind of from him being this producer to kind of escaping that and of like I need to be at this certain level to providing this whole different atmosphere and taking those skills in a whole different direction. It's an amazing journey to witness.
Thanks, y'all. Appreciate
Another
that.
inspiration.
Yeah, making sleep music has definitely been like, or music that kind of could help you sleep or fall asleep has been a really interesting departure from, trying to be the god of panthers and making
Crushing
the
dance
biggest,
floors.
best music, the best beats, and making people dance and all that. I love all that, and I love that period of my life too. But yeah, this is more where I'm at these days.
Well, let's see what happens. I guess, since we're singing your praises, Rob and I will just accompany you in our jam.
come on.
We'll lift you up. You can lead it. Now, I'm not sure what we're going to do for our jam. If you're watching on Instagram, I'm going to turn that off, and you can catch us on YouTube or wherever else this is happening. And I'll be editing this down, and hopefully it'll be an auditory thing too. But we are going to take a few minutes break to set everything up, and we'll be right back. Thank you so much, Paul Gaeta and Rob Gray, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And I'm Sam Irvin,
thanks.
and we will be right back.
Later.
wants to take off. I'm having a good time jamming, but I just wanted to excuse anybody in case somebody was sitting here like, oh my gosh, how long is this going on? Sounds good. What do you think? Yeah. Okay. Do you want me here? Do you want to do an NPC thing? Do you want to... Yeah, don't worry about that. Yeah. No, it's all good. Do you guys want rhythm or ambient stuff? Okay. And we had a moment there. That felt good. I picked out like, oh, that's the minute that I'm going to post this week. Yeah, let's take that off. Can we get back? Can we get back in the headphones? Because I'm thinking about the drum recording. I was like, I had that thought just now, like, oh, I bet all this bass and stuff is. You can listen to that. So. Yeah, so almost like a melody. Oh, will you turn the beat down a little bit? Not that one. That one you can turn all the way down. Because now we've got it in the headphones. You're out of gas. I know. I was doing that weird toy train thing. All right. Well, I think people can hear me through this mic. Thank you so much for tuning in. If anybody's still listening to this point after crazy noise for so long. I think the chat's for them and the jam's for us. Yeah, thank you, Rob Gray, Paul Gaeta, Doug Oser. I'm Sam Irvin. See you next week when we'll have on another guest or two. I always forget who's coming on next. All right, thanks. Doug, you want to hit the please wait?